Welcome to MILF.
I'm Courtney.
And I'm Jennifer.
And we are two moms into literary freedom. Hey, Jennifer. So as you know, I made a post making fun of billionaire Jeff Bezos sending millionaire Katy Perry into space. And I paired it with a punk song about the hypocrisy of billionaires sending millionaires into space when there's so many other things that they could be doing with their unfathomable amount of money.
Well, the singer and guitarist from the band saw it, liked it, and even agreed to come on the show today to talk about it. Allow me to introduce Joseph Lazzari, singer and guitarist for the band Reconciler. Welcome to the show.
So again,
thanks so much.
Yes, thank you, Joseph, for being on the show. We're so excited to talk to you. Let's just get started and talk about the song Love Song for the End Times and what inspired you to write that.
It's a really difficult one, actually. It's actually a song that I set out to write an earnest love song, and there was so much happening at the time that I was writing that song. I think I wrote it in like mid 2021 or something like that, just kind of like emerging from the real depths of COVID stuff. And trying to write this love song, I kept getting like off track by all these things that were really just really eating at me,
Right.
And if anything, as a songwriter, I just want to write honestly. And I was like, well, this is just what it is, this is what it's going to be. And it's more about a song of just like trying to survive in this like uncertain times, just absolutely ridiculous, like cartoon level shit happening.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
I often find it hard to put into words like what you just said, like what the times that we're living in. And Jennifer and I say that every time we record an episode. We're like, okay, what is it today? Like, how are we going to put into words how we're feeling about the timeline that we're living in? And oftentimes I just say this is like the most fucked up timeline that I could have imagined, but listening to your song, I think, and that's like, a testament to how important music is and your type of music specifically. Like listening to that song like really helped me put my feelings in order, and that and that made me feel better, if that makes sense.
I mean, honestly, that's why I write music. That's why I make art. That's the whole thing of it, right? Is like trying to like deal with complicated feelings and hopefully put them out in the world that like other people that share those complicated feelings can like come together over something. Like that's what art is,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, thanks for saying that. Like that means a lot to me, honestly, that like, that song, which we never play, like we've played it live once.
Right. Because it's an acoustic like ballad. It's not like
it,
right?
It is, yeah. I had to fight a little bit to get it on the record, actually.
Oh, I'm so glad it's on there. I love it. But so I played it for Jennifer, and she's like, "This is punk."
Yeah, I'm not very good about music, like genres and things. So I was like, "This is punk, really?" I thought it was beautiful.
Well, thank you. I mean, I don't think punk has to be not beautiful.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. But
They all
like,
have their own definitions of beautiful.
yeah, for sure. But like, it doesn't have like punk music doesn't have to have a sound. It's not bound to any sort of thing. It's more about an ideology. It's about a way of living. You know what I mean? And the thing that keeps punk stuff interesting is that it's constantly changing and evolving, and we can like keep like renewing our interest by like moving in different directions and being open-minded enough to like keep shifting and stuff, So it's like, yeah, I mean, no, it's kind of a country song, but like, yeah, it lives on a punk record and I play in a punk band. So like it is what it is. Like,
well, then
and I
I
don't
played another song for her, and she's like, "Okay, yeah, that sounds." Because I know I
yeah.
hate like putting labels on things, but like it's I remember when we talked about Beyonce and how she didn't she like win best album for country.
I think so, finally.
And there was like so
Mhm.
much, we made a whole episode about all the backlash about like, oh, it's Beyonce country. Like, why do we have to put a label on music? And it kind of just goes back to what you're saying is as artists, like, you know, you want to express yourselves, and people and us less talented people listen
Yeah,
to
it's not.
your art, to your art and your music. And I personally find comfort in listening to all kinds of music,
Right.
but recently to punk music, because as my partner Blake, who's the one that turned me on to your band and the song, would say, punk music has been saying this for decades. And essentially, what your song said is, billionaires sending millionaires to space. Well, what was the lyric? Like, people are dying every day, yet billionaires send millionaires to space. Or people die with nothing every day.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I think as far as the label stuff goes, like for anybody that makes anything, like it's not our job to label it. You know what I mean? Like labels are for other people, and I try not to get hung up on that stuff. And like those are my like least favorite interview questions when like it's some boilerplate thing that comes across. It's like describe your band. Like what's the subgenre? Like I don't
Mm.
care. I don't care.
Yeah,
That's not for me. I just want to make the things that I want to make, and you
that's
can
such a
call it
hard question.
whatever you yeah, like and
Mhm.
if anything, I like it's like this thing where you have to like end up feeling like you're bragging about yourself or like putting yourself in a box with other bands or artists that are better and bigger than you. Like I'm like these people. It's like, no, we're all
Mhm.
just making a thing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but
make it.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, but like, I again, I really appreciate that you found, some kind of connection in that song. Like that song means a lot to me. And like it's, probably part of the reason that we don't play it live much is because the content of it kind of chokes me up too. So
Oh yeah.
like it's not something that the band really wants to do because it's not so much of a band song, but I never push to do it
Mhm.
either because it's like it's one of those ones that kind of like chokes me up a little bit and I've kind of forgotten about it a little bit.
Mhm.
Because it's like just kind of sits on a shelf. And then when I saw your story that you posted the other day,
Mhm.
like it really like got me, especially with the
Oh,
video. And I was like, please send me the original of Katy Perry talking about this stuff. And I was like,
yeah.
it couldn't be worse if it tried. Like, I mean, like it seemed like an SNL sketch.
I
Like, are
know.
you kidding me? This
I
shit
was
that
like,
she's saying.
I couldn't
Like,
even listen to it. I was just like cringing. Jennifer's over here like watching all of her reels. Like, how I just cringe because like the things she says are
Yeah. It's
oh
so
so
sad.
God.
out of touch with reality.
It
Like,
is it's so out of touch. She talks about love like love is a commodity. Like
yeah,
love is more of like a dialogue than an object that you can possess, And the way
right.
she talks about love, I feel like you could just overdub that and take love out of it and replace it with money. Every
Oh,
time she says
absolutely.
love, just
Yeah.
say money over it, and it would be the same shit,
Hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. And like, yeah, I billionaires are the fucking problem.
For
Like,
sure.
Absolutely.
millionaires are just d disconnected jerks a lot of times. Some
Right.
of them probably not. Some of them probably
Yeah.
great people.
Yeah.
But like, billionaires all bad, 100%. They're
A hundred
criminals.
percent.
There's no ethical way to be a billionaire.
Well, that
Like
reminds
they're the
me. I
problem.
saw I saw something. It was like the Disney heiress. She was like, anyone who can't have $999 million and make it work is pure evil. And she's the heiress to Disney. Like she could be a billionaire if she wanted to. But even, so she's an example of someone with a ton of money who's like, no, we got to draw the line somewhere. I would draw the line at like $400 million, but
I mean, yeah, that's still pretty high.
right, right. I mean, you got to draw the line somewhere.
Uh,
Like, where do you draw it? But it is such
yeah.
an unfathomable number that I feel like a lot of people don't really understand the difference between like a million and a billion. And I always say this. I think I've said this a few times, and I'm gonna get it wrong. But like a million seconds ago was like the height of COVID. But like a billion seconds ago was like I don't know, like the height of like the bubonic plague or something like that. Like
Yeah,
that's how big the difference is.
those are conversations that I've had with a couple people who are like, probably our parents' generation, like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like that are much more accepting of the idea of a billionaire just being a signal of like great success or something like that for whatever reason. But like that's the thing is like you're like, wait, have you done the breakdown of what a billion is versus a million? Like it seems like a little like it seems like two steps to get through your front door. It's like million, billion, I'm inside the house.
Right.
No, it's not.
No.
Like
No.
it's not at all. Like it's unfathomable how you
Yeah.
can get from a million to a billion. Like, I
I
mean,
think I had Chat
you know,
GPT help
like
me with this, which I feel a little gross about because I have my own reservations about AI, but it's
Right.
almost inevitable. But it was something like, how much money would I have to save a day? I think I saw this on social media and then was like, oh, I'm gonna try that with Chat GPT. And it was like, how much money do I have to save a day, to have as much money as I think it was Jeff Bezos or maybe it was Elon Musk, but it was like essentially it was like you have to be born in the ice age, then you have to save like a ridiculous amount of money every day in order to have as much wealth that he's had. And when you put it in, at least for me anyway, like you have to put it in like picture terms or like visual examples for me to really understand how gross it is to have that much money. And I feel like a lot of
yeah.
people need to understand
And
that.
what they make like per hour
Hmm.
is ridiculous. Like I told my husband, he makes more an hour than we do in a whole year.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, a lifetime probably. I
Yeah.
mean,
Or a
especially like,
second. Yeah.
and like how do you even track it now with like the wealth transfers that happen? Like, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not even like salary based for those people.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and that's the thing. Like when I wrote that song, there was like this weird media pissing contest happening between Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and what's his name? Like the Virgin guy. They were all like
Zuckerberg. Wait.
no, no, yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
different kind of Virgin.
Wait,
The
wait.
guy that owns like Virgin Records, the big conglomerate
Oh,
airline cruise ships, that guy, the Virgin guy. Yeah,
sorry.
Mark Zuckerberg is probably a virgin for sure. Um,
Got it.
anyway, there was like this weird like, and the media was just eating it up, like whose rocket is gonna go the highest or whatever. You know what I mean? And
Rocket
it's
is the
just like,
biggest.
and it's like, dude, we all just spent like 2 years of our lives panicking about how we were gonna eat. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Why are these people not stressed? In fact, they have so much extra shit that they're just literally burning it up into the sky
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
For all of us to watch and applaud, like
And that also reminds me, they did not disclose how much each ticket was and who paid for what. But they did say that it was $150,000 deposit for each ticket. But I did some research and they didn't say like, oh, Bezos paid for all of it, or if Gail King, who was a passenger on the Blue Origin, if she paid for it, or if Katy Perry, I don't know. But when we first started talking on Instagram, you said if Katy Perry covered that song, you would donate the royalties to like libraries or something, right?
yeah, well, I said I would pay off my 20-year-old student loans first
That too.
because pretty sick of those.
Okay,
Um,
that's fair.
but yeah, I mean, like dealing like all of these ridiculous government cuts that are happening right
To
now.
library. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like the entire organization that funds libraries and museums through grants, just got the axe. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, you know, and as a person who's an artist, like I work in museums a good bit.
Mm-hmm.
And like I would, probably bet that like the amount that I like get gigs in museums moving forward in the next handful of years is probably going to take a pretty sharp decline,
Right.
which
Yeah.
means that like, I have to like to still be like a self-employed artist, like I have to like just keep finding like weirder, stranger ways to make a living, while people are like, yeah, this is what's great, and it's like
Mhm.
so nobody's gonna like read books or see
I
art
know.
anymore, and we're all just gonna be really stupid, and that's gonna be great.
And
Right.
that seems to be the end goal. That's what
Right.
they want.
Well, yeah, that's what they want. Yeah, they want to defund. Another thing
Yeah.
we talk about a lot is the defunding of public schools. Now we're seeing it in these libraries and museums. But I do want to pause to take a minute to tell Jennifer that your side job, or one of, not your side job, but your job other than being a musician is sculpting, right? Like you make he made this really cool pink, I saw this on your Instagram, it was like a pink dinosaur, a tyrannosaurus or a triceratops, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it had a
Hmm.
pizza on one of its horns, and you did it out
Hmm.
of wood. You're like a wood, or wood and like other textiles.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a woodworker, metal worker, but like that thing was made up like it was like a wooden skeleton with like sculpted foam over it and resins and all kinds of stuff.
It's
But
awesome.
thank you very much.
It's really cool.
It was for a brewery in Atlanta, actually. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Oh,
um
But
but
yeah, going back to your point of like actually like creating art in those museums and those public spaces, like that's going to be impacted hugely by all these cuts.
yeah, and in ways that we don't really know yet. And it's gonna be negative, but those negatives are gonna be like kept in the shadows as much as possible, right?
Mhm.
Like they're not like so unless you have a job that one of those grants pays your salary every year, which I know a couple of people who just like 2 weeks notice, boom, their job's gone. You know what I mean? Pack up,
Yeah.
go home. Like, yeah, I'm sorry that you dedicated your life, to curatorial studies and you've
Hmm.
moved around the country trying to find a good position for yourself. And now you have one and now you don't. Good day to
Hmm.
you.
Well,
Like,
yeah, I can say personally as an education contractor. So I was a public school teacher for 10 years and then I left that field to do contract work to write curriculum and assessments as a contractor. But I've had two contracts in the past since January, like, since the inauguration that have been abruptly cut because the client, is like, oh, well, we thought we had more money for this, but we don't. So now you're only, instead of making like, like 200 assessments over the course of 6 months, you're only going to make like 50 over the course of like 2 months. So I'm definitely feeling it, in,
yeah,
in, in that regard too. So, but I'm gonna lean more into pottery, and we're gonna see who wants
yeah.
some Tuck Frump mugs is what we've been calling it. But gotta be careful. I don't think
I
Tuck
love it.
Frump can get me in trouble, but we'll see. We don't have lawyers.
No. Yeah, I don't, just just do it until, you know,
Hmm.
until you can't.
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, until you have to like kill all your socials and your website or whatever and
I know,
disappear
like
for a little while.
I mean, not to sound like a doomsday, but like it seems like that's the direction that we're headed in with all of, and another thing Jennifer and I always talk about is like the purposeful like what's it called, inundation of like news stories, right? Like the purposeful like inundation of like stupid things that they're doing just to distract you from all the other things that are going on. Like it is a strategy meant to discourage us and to confuse us.
Which this has been brought up as what are they trying to distract us from?
Right.
Of
Yeah.
course, yeah.
And
I
there's so and this
mean,
yeah.
it's normally a pretty simple answer with this administration, I think, and it's just taking money.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like all of the hateful stuff that's happening is like it's just a little like piece on the game board.
Hmm.
And like, we can like worry ourselves sick about it. And like, they're just emptying the safe out of the back the whole time.
Hmm.
Um, and
Yeah.
yeah, I try to stay pretty unplugged these days. Like I moved out of Atlanta and I live in a small town in Alabama now.
Hmm.
Like for the first time in 18 years, I don't live in the middle of a major city. And like I live in this quiet place and I go
Hmm.
on a lot of walks with my dog and I
That's
just like
awesome.
try to be outside and
Hmm.
not like glued to a screen
Hmm.
as much as possible. And it's been it's been really great for my mentality. I'll say that for sure. But like, I it certainly doesn't fix anything to ignore it, but like
Well, I think
I don't
there's a
know.
balance for sure.
There's definitely a balance, right? You can like it doesn't fix anything to like literally worry yourself to death about
Exactly.
things.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Like one thing that I think about a lot now is like it's like yeah, are we really headed this far into authoritarianism where like you and I can't say the things that we want to say. We can't make the things
Right.
that we want to say
Hmm.
without being in danger. And it's like, well, maybe not, but yeah, maybe so. Maybe we are. And if we are, then like I think the things that we really need to be thinking about more now is like, okay, we're not going to stop saying these things or making these things, but
Right.
like we do need to think about where we make them and where we say them and stuff. And like
Mm.
if if Instagram or whatever other outlet is going to censor those things and potentially hold us accountable, like through some kind of punishment, then like we won't do it there. Like, so I think it's like we need to get more into like, to take it back to like a punk rock ethos of like back to more of like a grassroots effort where it's like, if you're an artist, like start putting together mailing lists again, like email chains. Email chains and postcards and stuff. And like actually, speaking to people in your community and trying to form those relationships where it's like, like if you want to improve things in that way, then like trade vegetables with your neighbors that you grow in your garden and stuff. Like,
I've heard that before. It's like you got to get back to the grassroots and like helping our neighbors and like, sure things like you said earlier at the start of this episode seem really dire and are really dire, but to kind of like preserve our mentality, we need to just become closer to the people in our community and help them in whatever way we can, and kind of start from a community level and just kind of go back to helping each other and see if that sort of creates a ripple effect. And as I say it just sounds like it's just not enough, but like what else can you do?
Exactly. Like it's not enough, but but there's nothing else. Like we can't, like, what are we going to do? Like raise an army? You know what I mean? Like, what are we going to like buy some soldiers? I don't have any money.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So like, so
we can keep having these conversations about how,
we can. And we can meet in community spaces and sing songs together and stuff and like try to stay more on the same page, because like even a lot of people that really oppose the way that we think about things, like it's not that they actually oppose those things. It's not like, it's like, I don't think I or either of you like believe in any sinister shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we're the bad guys. And I don't think those people are the bad guys either. They've just been like misled a little bit. And like, and that's okay. So yeah, the more that we can talk and like meet in person and do things that are good examples of how we want to live in this world, that's like, that's the only power that we have. And like, where we spend our money, I suppose, as well.
For sure.
Helps.
And it has been good to see like a shift in like the town hall meetings. And like the heavy Republican areas where it was very much people who support MAGA and Trump and everything he's doing suddenly being like, this is not okay. What is going on? And like maybe, perceptions are changing and opinions are starting to change. So that has given me a little bit of hope.
Yeah. And that goes back to the whole community thing, like people actually showing up in their community to actually have these hard conversations. That is where what we need to do. It's all we can do, like you said. So that's a good point, Jennifer. Thanks for bringing that up. I love that.
Yeah.
But also we could have these conversations, on whatever platform that we have, like, you as a musician wrote a song about it and it touched a ton of people, including us. And here we are on our podcast talking about like, hey, why couldn't Katy Perry, who we thought was like on our side, right? Why couldn't she have taken that $150,000 deposit, or for all we know, it was $1 million ticket price, we don't even know, and put it towards sending like a STEM student from a low income high school into space for 11 minutes. Like that. What was the thing what was it called? It was like,
which thing?
The whole Blue Origin into space. It was like,
women were taking up space.
Yeah. Katy Perry takes up enough space already. Gayle King takes up so much space. Like, what about the actual STEM, students that want to become astronauts? Like, donate your money to send them up to space, right?
Well, there was an actual astronaut
that's true
on what is it, the rocket, and her story is overshadowed by Katy Perry and Gayle King.
Let's talk about it. So it was
with
what
that
was her
flower
name? Right. Oh my gosh, the daisy.
Promoting her new album.
You're in space for 11 minutes and you want to like talk about the songs on your album? Like, just look out the window. I don't know.
But also like talking about Earth like she missed it so bad. It's like
she kissed it when she came back.
Dude, that's one thing that I couldn't stop thinking about is like, do you think that before the camera panned down, like they brought a person in with a bucket of like sterile dirt,
I was
and
just
like put it
wondering that.
down there, like,
Because you
like,
could get some sort of like, I was like, oh man, I hope she gets some sort of soil toxin.
Have you
yeah,
seen the
just
video of when they opened the door by accident?
Uh-uh.
Okay, so they opened the door from inside
Oh yeah.
and they were like, cut, like they cut the feed.
Uh-huh.
And then Jeff Bezos came in and pretended to open it.
Oh
So it
no.
was really like
I saw
everyone's
Jeff
like, what's going
Bezos
on with that?
tripping and like eating the dirt on accident when he was like
I
trying to
didn't watch
fix her.
that.
Yeah, I have it. You can watch.
so
But
I mean,
that does go back to Jennifer saying that these two actual like scientists who were in the Blue Origin are overshadowed. What was her first name?
Amanda.
Amanda Nguyen. Um, I'm just gonna just tell you about her real quick and our listeners. Is the founder of Rise, a nonprofit that advocates for sexual assault victims. She's a survivor of sexual assault who describes herself as a pathological optimist. She was a is a bioastronaut research scientist. But she drafted the Sexual Assault Survivors Rights Act, a bill that passed unanimously in the U.S. Congress, and was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize in 2019 for her work to pass the legislation. And I think she was like studying to be an astronaut when this like horrific thing happened to her, and then she pivoted and like kind of put her career on hold to do this. And then she was a part of this expedition or whatever you want to call it. But like her story is completely overshadowed by Katy Perry and
yeah, I didn't hear anything about a Nobel Peace Prize nominee being on that ship.
yeah.
Um, I wonder if anybody asked her if she enjoyed you know, enjoyed her company on that
I
trip or not.
know. Like what
Like,
like did you like Katy Perry's song?
yeah.
Like impromptu stuff? Like, oh, I'd be like, please stop. This is so awkward.
You're
Like,
ruining my first trip to space
Uh.
here.
did we take a vote? Like, did we say we all wanted to hear you sing? Uh, and then the other one is Aisha Bo. I'm not sure if I'm saying her name right, but she's a Bahamian American aerospace engineer, a founder, a STEM advocate, and an entrepreneur. She is the founder and CEO of STEMboard, a technology company, and Lingo, an educational tech company featuring tutorials and online resources. And so she was the recipient of NASA Equal Employment Opportunity Medal, the U.S. Women's Chamber of Commerce Emerging Star Award, and the Virginia Business Magazine's Black Business Leaders Award. Also, didn't hear anything about her.
Yeah.
But it's like maybe they were just kind of thrown on there to be like, see, this isn't just for celebrities, but
Yeah, I mean it like makes it look a little less like just rich people bragging when you have some very talented, earnest people on board, I guess, too.
mhm.
Um, but I don't know. I mean, the whole idea of that thing just seems so weird. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Right.
Uh, just I mean, go into space for 10 minutes anyway. Like,
Right.
I
That
mean,
was the
yeah,
thing. I was
it's
like trying to like make excuses for it. Like, oh, they actually had two scientists up there, but what were they going to do for 11 minutes? And also, let's not forget
yeah,
all of the layoffs of women at NASA. Like as of this month, 23 employees were laid off at NASA because of the Trump administration. A lot of them women. But we don't care about that.
Right. This was like a big women's movement. They're trying to play it up like, female empowerment, but we don't feel empowered by
yeah.
this.
No.
Like,
Well, I mean, I think we're all probably aware enough to know that like anytime there's a thing that happens like this in the media, like the lens that we see it through is pretty carefully planned by PR people who do a lot of research on the science of all this stuff. It's like the
Mhm.
spin is all there, but I feel like God, I feel like those people are so disconnected, and that's why we feel disconnected from those experiences a lot of times. Is
Yeah.
and I don't know if Katy Perry is a person that just hopped out of that ship and was like, "Hey guys, don't worry, I'm just gonna spitball some really cool shit about love. I got it."
Hmm.
Or if she like really rehearsed, with her publicist of like, "How are we gonna do this?" She's like, "Well, you're gonna do the flower, you're gonna kiss the sterile dirt that we put down right before you step out." And she's like, "Got it. Okay." And maybe she hasn't even thought about it, and she's just viewing it like being on a stage in an arena of like, this is just
Yeah.
another performance for me, which
Right.
doesn't make
That
it
was my
right.
impression. Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
make it right at all. But
Hmm.
like, I feel like a lot of times with people like that, they're like, you know, what do you have, a 16 and a half hour day every day of just doing some shit that somebody else tells you to do and pretending
Hmm.
that you
Yeah.
came up with all of it. But so I don't know. It's just like it's a whole machine, the whole
Hmm.
thing, like all the
Yeah.
way down. It's like the whole thing is just like, I don't know. And the sad thing to me is that for whatever reason, all of us who will never achieve those things have been so conditioned to like worship it. You
Right.
know what I mean? And like to
Yeah.
have a person like that tell us that like you just can't fathom how
Love.
much love there is until you go to space in this rocket.
Right.
Like, well, fuck me, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Like I'll
guess
just
we'll
Yeah.
stay
never
down
know.
here on the ground and
Guess
just be
I'm just an
loveless,
idiot.
like like
Yeah.
I don't know. And it's just like, but at the same time, like there's probably a ton of her fans that were just like eating that stuff up.
Oh
And it's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
why are we eating this up? Why aren't we all just like,
I think a
don't
lot
you
of
dare talk
people,
to me like that?
right. Well,
Like
a lot of people, like, so my sister was like, Courtney, wait till you see this. You're gonna hate it. And like she's like, really into pop music
Yeah.
and all that stuff. She would be someone who you would think would be like, oh, Katy Perry into space, so cool. But she was like, this is disgusting. So I was like, wow,
Oh.
like you think that this is cringy too. She's like, yes. And then even Wendy's was like, can we send her back to space? Did you see that? Like Wendy's wants to send her back. I was like, okay,
Oh, that's
more
great.
people are like, they're feeling the same thing that we're feeling. So I was like, all
I
right,
hope
I'm
so.
valid in my anger.
Yeah. The funny thing for me is that like I kind of felt like after the fact that song that I wrote, like the line about the space and the rockets is a little bit like too like anchored in the time that I wrote that song. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like ultimately I thought it wasn't going to age well. People would be like
Oh,
rockets in space or whatever.
no.
And I was like, oh, never
It,
mind. We're just like
that's what
four
Jennifer
years
said. She's
later, we're
like,
just like
when did he write this song? I was like years ago.
Right.
I actually before I signed on to here, I went back through like my voice memos on my phone, because that's normally how like I start a songwriting process, is just little bits and chunks on a voice memo. So I like scrolled all the way back July of 2021. That's when I wrote the first,
Wow.
that's when I did the first version of that song.
That's
So it's been a
awesome.
minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that, now in 2025
Yeah.
it's still relevant
Yeah.
and we're still
Yeah.
dealing with this.
I know it
I
is.
don't
Yeah, so that's sort of like kind of going back to what you were said about, at the beginning of this episode, like it does seem like things are dire, and you take solace in taking your dog for walks in nature and doing your art and but what are some other things that you think, we could do to keep our heads up in these unprecedented times?
I think looking for positivity as much as possible
Mhm.
is so necessary. Like if if all of us that are like-minded in this situation and feel like we're going through it together, if all we do is complain to each other every time we talk, then
Mhm.
it seems so much more dire. Like it's
Mhm.
like it'll start to get to this point of like, well, like what are we even fighting for? Why do we
I
even
know. Apathy. We
why do we
can't be
even want to
apathetic.
survive? Like it just sucks. So
Hmm.
like I think, like if you're going to use social media, use it to share things and inspire you as much as possible. And
Hmm.
like that's not to say that you got to just like put a fake smile on all the time. You don't have to do that shit, but
Balance.
look, yeah, but like look, look for the things that are inspiring and positive, and the things that are like that you can kind of like hang up on the wall over there to look at every now and then and be like,
Hmm.
this is why we're here. This is why we believe these things. This
Hmm.
is what we want, and like share those things as much as
Yeah.
possible with other
Right.
people, because like
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that are feeling really sad right now
Hmm.
because like,
Hmm.
you know, they're being they're being fucked. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like like I can't think of a
Yeah.
better way to say it at the moment. But
Yeah.
like, so like share the things, have the conversations that like uplift those people, that uplift everybody. You know what I mean? And like try to be less divisive. Like we're not gonna like we're not gonna win this thing by like being like, yeah, my neighbor over here is like he's such a dick. Like he likes that guy.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, if he likes that guy, like let's try to like just be nice. Let's try to be nice. And be like, maybe his perspective will shift. It's not going to shift with me just giving him the finger every time I see him.
Right.
He's gonna be like, yeah, he's one of them.
And that reminds me, your song is one of those things, right? And I feel like I can share the song, a love song for the end of times, with someone who may have voted for Trump, right? And they could be, you know, not, I may have someone in mind, but not to name names, but they could be like, wow, this is like a really like meaningful song. Like, yeah. And, you know, because it doesn't mention Trump in your song, but it's like, hey, we can sort of bond over this song, or even like, you know, your artwork or anyone's artwork. So, you know, that being said, like, where can we, you know, as podcast hosts, but also whoever is listening, support your art and your music, and, you know, buy some merch? Do you have any merch?
we have plenty of stuff. We have records and shirts and stuff like that.
I'm gonna get a shirt.
You know, if you want to you know, you can buy stuff directly from us through our Bandcamp site, which
Bandcamp. Okay.
Yeah, which
I'll put that in our show notes.
Yeah, you can find that. You know, we're signed to a label that's based out of Florida, called Smart Punk Records. You can find the stuff that we've released through them on their website.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
You know,
I'll put all that in our show notes, and I'll put your social media handles in there so that those listening can go check out that pink Triceratops album, which I thought was so cool. Thanks. And you know, listen to your music, which I think is great. And my son, who's super into punk music now, he keeps telling me, Mom, you got to get the singer of NoFX The Decline on your podcast. I'm like, well, that's kind of a tall ask, but he's going to be so happy to hear that I got a punk singer on the podcast. He's going to love it. So
yeah, you know, so I mean, you know, me and Fat Mike, I'm almost there. All
right. Let me know. Hey, put in a good word.
Well, he did just retire recently. He's probably got some time.
Oh, there we go. But we don't pay for Zoom. So when this Zoom call ends, please don't think that we're hanging up on you. We don't have any money from this podcast. That being said, if you're listening, please like and subscribe, and maybe monetize this in some way. But the Zoom call is about to end. So thank you so much, Joseph. It was a pleasure talking with you. I'm going to go
likewise
to your next concert next time you're in Florida. So I'll probably bug you, if that's okay.
We'll be down that way for sure.
This episode has been engineered and mixed by your hosts, Jennifer Mendoza and Courtney Green.
Thanks for listening, and be sure to follow us at MILF for Books. That's MILF, the number 4, Books, on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it.
And don't forget to help the show by rating us wherever you get your podcasts.